Welcome to the You and I Verse podcast. This is your host, Bleak. And you know, I'm always with my sister, Venus, a goddess.
Hey, beautiful souls. Peace. Welcome in our YouTube family, Facebook family,
Yeah,
TikTok family. Welcome in.
we here. How you doing?
Uh, Amazing as usual. Looking like
Hey,
a cute little
I'm about to say, listen,
damn ears.
I like your look you got going on there. You looking real spiffy. You always got
What's
some
the
nice frames on.
what's some
They look real
them
nice.
little thank you. What's some little chinchillas, with the ears? I'm like, okay, my ears looking, my earmuffs over here, but it's okay. It's a part of the get up. What's
Yeah, man.
going
We
on
got
with you? How
look.
you feeling?
I'm feeling better. You know, last week I was under the weather a little bit, but I ain't gonna complain. You know, we making it happen. But today we got a good show. We got a great show. We're gonna get into manipulation 101, the anatomy of a cult. We're gonna get into that, but we got a lot to say about it. You know,
We sure do. We sure do. But that's what it was. But I'm glad you feeling better. You looking better. You
yep,
sounding better.
yeah, trying to make it do what it do. I'm gonna turn the background music down just a tad bit more, just to make sure that we're being heard. But
Okay.
yeah, then we got a good one, and you know how we do. So shout out to everybody in Facebook world, those that's following us in our group, and those that are following us on YouTube as well. Matter of fact, as we do that, I'm gonna go into this group, make sure everybody got the message that
Ashe.
we are indeed live.
We are
You know,
live. We are streaming
but
live for my TikTok family that's coming in. Welcome in. Welcome in. We are streaming live. So you may hear my voice, but not my partner's bleak voice. If you want to engage further and hear the totality of this evening's lesson discussion, we're going to be talking about manipulation and the anatomy of the occult. Make sure you just hop on over to my YT, All Things Self Mastery.
yes. And I just made sure that everybody in our group on Facebook, in the Facebook group, You and I Verse podcast group, everyone should have it. So that just went out. Yep, that should be good. But yeah, let's we gotta do the Facebook, not the Facebook, the announcements. Oh, make sure y'all
Yeah, we're
follow
about
us
to.
on everything You and I Verse. Huh?
No,
Oh, I
I'm
forgot
just
you on
waiting.
TikTok.
Yeah, I'm
No, I
streaming
know.
right now. I'm
I said
streaming
I forgot you on
off of my
TikTok.
phone.
Yeah, I thought you were trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
yeah,
Erica.
so make sure you guys follow us on everything. Make sure y'all follow us on everything You and I Verse podcast. We are definitely on I'm gonna put the banner down there. We are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, everything, every platform you can find a podcast, we should be on there. Of course, our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow. It costs you nothing to like and subscribe. You know, it's gonna cost you a lot if you don't. How about that?
Listen. Either way you slice the cake, it's going to cost you something. Okay, it's going to cost you something, but it
Right?
doesn't have to be a negative, right? And so let's get into some
Exactly.
housekeeping before we get into this evening's explosive conversation, which I think is going to be explosive, right? This is our second episode on You and I Verse
Yeah.
podcast, and before we continue, we will be remiss if we don't ask for your favors and your help in doing the freebies. Okay, it costs nothing to subscribe, so make sure you hit that subscribe into the You and I Verse podcast and You and I Verse podcast streaming, our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, make
Yep.
sure you comment, make sure you like, because we like all the free stuff. It costs nothing to the tap. We are streaming on those some of your favorite podcast streaming platforms, Spotify and Apple, right? And for those of you who feel led to support, listen, your donations help us to expand. So when we get into our future endeavors as far as financially supporting our brothers and sisters that need assistance in whatever areas, please know that whatever you choose to share, whatever is led on your heart, whether it's 50 cents or a dollar, please make sure you do so in the link, you'll find the link in our bio to our donation platforms, and we encourage it. You know, it's always an exchange. You get what you give. So let's start pouring into positive, light, and like-minded individuals doing powerful things that is really for the betterment and upliftment to the people. Just as a reminder,
Yep,
All
yep.
Things Self Mastery Book Club is beginning this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registration closes this evening at 12 p.m. So make sure you get
Get
that
in.
going. You register.
You still got time to
Lee,
get
what you
in there.
got?
Well,
Yes.
you already know the bleak reality and out the frame. I went live earlier for out the frame. Did pretty good with that. But y'all got to follow
Dope.
me on everything. Out the frame podcast, OTF, and the bleak reality, just like my name, BLEK reality podcast YouTube channel. Yep. And we got a lot of things coming this year. This 2024 is going to be huge for all of these podcasts, for you and I Verse podcast, Out the Frame, and the Bleak Reality, and All Things Self Mastery. And Venus is doing an excellent job, I must say, with your podcast over there. You're doing a damn thing, girl, like you always do.
I say, so are you,
You
partner.
know,
Look,
gotta give it
right
up
back
to you.
at
You
you.
gotta give it up
Right
to
back at you.
you. You already know. You already know.
Ashe, we're doing some great
But
things over here, and
yeah,
we love that you are a part of it. We on this journey together, right? This is not just about you. This is not just
indeed.
about us. It's about us, like because we are one. We are definitely one.
Yep.
So we appreciate your love and your support, and we appreciate you for spending time with us. But anyway, let's get into it. We're talking about manipulation. We talking about
Oh yeah.
we talking about those occult leaders, okay,
Yeah.
that's doing some wicked and terrible things. We
Man,
talking
listen,
about that.
this one is gonna be deep because I know it's a lot of interest in these cults. You know what's so crazy? Since me and you had the discussion, right, about doing this
Mhm.
show, I've seen several different. Just today, I seen one another documentary about Jim Jones. That's I guess it's a new. Well, it's not. I guess I know it's a new one
Mhm.
that's being shown on HBO Max or Cinemax, whatever it is, on Max, about Jim Jones. I said, "Damn, that's kind of crazy." I wanted to see it, but I didn't watch it before then. But yeah, so we got a lot of things that's interesting because to me, when I see it, I know it speaks so much to
Mhm.
people looking for enlightenment. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for something
Yes.
outside themselves to
Mhm.
to show them the quote unquote the way. And a lot of times just what people end up getting into these cults and being
Yeah.
led astray.
They're
And
hungry. They're
I think
hungry.
a
I
lot of
mean,
times
even
people, yeah,
even Maslow's hierarchy, he expresses like one of those needs, those humanistic needs being acceptance, right? There's so many of us that's looking for acceptance. So I understand that it may be really, really easy to get warped up in occultish functions and systems and dealing with and
right,
engaging with those type of individuals. So we get it. However, what do we always say, Bleak? In these days and times and space, there are no such things as rhyme, reasons, justifications, or excuses because the
right,
information is not only within us, it is all around us at this point. And so here at You and I Verse, here at You and I Verse, we're gonna be going deep into these topics, all so we can give you the tips and tools
right,
and the information that you need to avoid some of these pitfalls.
right. And if you tuned in last week to episode 1 about the importance of self-mastery, then it would pretty much give you a safeguard from that falling into these pitfalls. because you
Yes.
can master yourself and you wouldn't need anyone to lead you, so to speak. So this is what we're doing over here, you and I verse, is trying to set a foundation, and somewhat give you the right knowledge and wisdom to form like a hedge of protection for yourself.
Yes.
Because at this point in time, we don't need leaders. You know what I'm saying? You can lead yourself, you know? So that's what it's about.
Ashe.
So,
Ashe.
you know,
It's about
you want to head
partnering up.
this
It's
thing
about
off?
aligning yourself.
Right. You want to head this thing off? You over there on your TikTok.
Abs- Absolutely. No, listen. I'm trying to pay attention to this mute button.
Okay, got you. I
I
got you.
don't see the light, so I can't tell whether it's on or off. But we're gonna get it together, okay? Yeah.
You
Let's
good.
kick this thing off. Have you ever asked yourself? And you know what? I love questions. I've always been an inquisitive mind. I want to know, like I want to know. And after you tell me, I want to know the thing behind what you told me. Like I want to get to the core of it. So, in dealing with manipulation, I'm sure many of us have asked ourselves some questions, whether we paid attention to it or not, whether we followed up with it or not. Questions like, am I easily persuaded? Right? Do I easily just go with the flow? Am I so quick to jump on somebody bandwagon just because the color of the wheels is my favorite color? Right? Why do I keep falling for the same
Right.
okie doke over and over? And that's the one that really get us. It's like, damn, I'm doing this again. I'm falling for this again. Why do
Right.
I keep doing that? And you know what's coming to my mind? For those of you who follow the those housewives, right? This scene specifically, Carly read in her new Love. She asks these questions like out loud, like, why do I keep falling for the same type of men? Like the okie doke. Why do I keep falling for the same okie doke? Right? At this point, after the fifth time, baby, you should know a person's true colors. Like you should know the core of a person. Like a lot can change its colors, a lot can change the stripes, a lot can change its its persona, the clothes, but it can't change the core of it. A lie is a lie, but then what color? White, black, little, big. A lie is a lie, right? So why do I keep settling?
Right.
Why do I keep settling or dismissing the unease that I have when I'm making these decisions, right? We're still talking about manipulation. Why do I feel and need to be accepted, especially into
Right.
people's lives that we know isn't going to elevate us in no way, shape, or form? Am I in control or are they? That's the question.
Right.
Ask the question, right? How many times we see that, Bleak?
Right.
We questioning ourselves
All the time. Yeah, all the time.
all
And
the time.
I think what you hit on is, it's a very important question, because I think a lot of people fall into, and it's so crazy. This is why the last episode was so dope, is because we talked about this. We talked about the patterns and falling
Self-mastery.
into,
Yes.
yeah, we talked about falling into those patterns, and this what tends to happen with people. When you think about a cult, right, and you think about all these
Mm-hmm.
people that left, their old lives, so to speak, and went on to their new
Right.
lives, a lot of the same things resemble, because a lot of people, quote unquote, left the church and came into this, into this
There you
new
go.
way of being. But it's the same. It was the same thing. This is just rehashed and gave you a new savior. You know what I mean? That's all they did, was gave you a new savior. A lot of times these cult leaders became the new savior. So it was no difference. It was just a new way of seeing things and doing things. They
That's a
just
good point.
traded places with other.
It's still a void that needs that yearns for fulfillment. There's still an emptiness. And so you jump from quote unquote one dangerous and destructive system to another. And we keep running into the same burning buildings, and we say, well, that this flame ain't as blazing as the other flame, so maybe I'll be
Right.
able to tolerate the heat. Baby, the flame
Right.
is the
Right.
flame. The outcome is going to be the same. It's going to burn you. See, there I
Exactly.
go with them bars again, right? Wait,
You always dropping bars. Always dropping bars.
the flame is the flame. It's going to burn the same. Come on now. Listen, if you ain't having fun while you learn,
Great,
you're doing
great.
something incorrect.
Doing something wrong, huh?
Okay. So let's get into it. Okay, with my
Nah,
corny self.
it's,
Defining
it's
manipulation. And you know why this is so incredibly important? Because your perception, right, of your mental database, your perception of how you associate with things is always going to be what's reflected, and it's always going to be what you attract. And so, pardon me, it is also important for us to give you a different perspective, right, on manipulation.
mm-hmm.
What is manipulation according to Google and most dictionaries? It is the idea or the concept of controlling someone or something to your own advantage, whether it's fair or unfair, whether it's righteous or unrighteous, whether it's honesty or dishonesty, right? Manipulation can happen to anyone in all kinds of relationships, not just platonic relationships, not just romantic relationships. These are the relationships that you have with yourself, because you can manipulate your own self, because it's always you versus you, your higher self versus your lower self. So this manipulation can happen between friends, romantic partners, parent to parent relationship, parent to child relationship, any other friend family relationship, even work colleagues, and some of our
Right.
managers and supervisors, right? So we also have to incorporate a deeper dive into other aspects and other perspectives of manipulation, because there is also a thing called energy manipulation, right? And
Oh yeah,
I
most
said it
definitely.
before. Right, you see where I'm going with this, right? And whether you
Mm-hmm.
know it or not, and this is why we always encourage you to don't just take our word, do the research yourself, so you can have a deeper inner outer standing of what it is we're talking about, right? So you're not easily led astray, even though we ain't in the business of unrighteously leading people nowhere or giving advice, right? And these tips. Energy manipulation is a concept, right? Often discussed in a spiritual aspect, the metaphysical aspect, and context. It involves the ability to be able to work with and control the energy, especially within oneself and our surrounding environments. Because what, everything is energy, and it can neither be
Yep.
destroyed or created. It just is. So when we're thinking about manipulation, a lot of us automatically go to, oh, manipulation is bad, manipulation is negative, manipulation is just some foul thing, when in actuality it is not. Anything can be positive or negative. Anything can be good or bad. Anything can be righteous or unrighteous. And so when you're only grabbing information from one side of the spectrum, you're missing the broad perspective, and you're also missing the opportunity to harmonize these things, right? And one of our primary functions as living organisms is to learn how to manipulate energy, right?
Right.
This is what the Hinduism and Buddhists, they teach you to go within, to learn how to harness your chi, right? That's what the Asians call it, the chi, right? And kung fu, the principles of controlling your chi, right? In Egyptian, ancient Egyptian Kemetic culture, it's all about maintaining your kai, which is your eighth energy center, right? It don't just stop at the seventh chakra, which is your crown chakra. Our ancient ancestors talked about the kai, which is your aura field. And if it's energy, you need to understand how to manipulate it in a righteous way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And guess what? If you don't, someone else will. Remember, exactly what you were saying is like the manipulation aspect is not neither negative or positive. It's just varying degrees. But if you're
Yeah.
not using that understanding and manipulating yourself, you best believe someone else is manipulating your energy. You know what I mean? So that's a great point that you brought up. But still, staying with what we're talking about, this is exactly what a lot of cult leaders do. They manipulate, they persuade you, they persuade your energy. You know what I mean? So they get you to
Right.
come over and to join their way of life, and that's in a sense is manipulation. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
um
Yes.
but but we know the ones that we're speaking about, they used it for negativity, but it's also people that will do the same in a positive. It's all about how you
Yes,
spin it.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
This is
yeah,
this is what we're doing. We're manipulating energy right
right
now.
now.
Understand that there is always an exchange of energy. We are manipulating now I'm just going to keep it all the way because we ain't holding no punches, right? This is transparency over here. We are now currently in what we're doing manipulating energy. And we're also manipulating your energy. But here's the thing you got to understand. We're doing it in a righteous way because we actually want you to elevate and learn how to master self so you can master your reality. But there's always an exchange of energies. Someone is always controlling the narrative of energy. The best thing you can do is master your own energy. Learn how to righteously manipulate your own energy. That way, you won't be getting caught up in these whirlwinds of people telling you certain truths. Even let me tell you something, because there's a lot of people out there, right, who are telling you divine wisdom, sharing with you divine truths. They know about metaphysics, they know about psychology, they know about dark psychology, they know about all the sciences, they know about biology. And guess what? They're using it though to bend and twist for their self-serving needs. That is the difference. And that's
Right.
why you need to be educated on all things dealing with self-mastery. And this evening, we're talking about manipulation. Energy manipulation can lead to ultimate power. It can lead to you really transforming your reality. It can lead to you changing the trajectory of your life and the lives of your loved ones. So while energy can neither be created or destroyed, it can be shaped and transformed. According to energy
Exactly.
workers and some psychotherapists, you can tap into that energetic system and you can learn to alchemize the energy within you. So you'll be able to easily decipher what we're telling you, if we mean you good or if we mean you harm. But so many of us are trapped underneath this physical guise, under this matrix, and following these Eurocentric ideologies and philosophies that were never for us in the beginning. They were never for us. They were never for us, right? And so we have to understand that. And so let's get into the meat and potatoes, okay? Let's start talking about
There
some
you go.
manipulative traits. Come on, lead us into it, Bleak. Lead us into it, because I know
So
you got
let's
some jewels over there.
right. But before we do that, because I think this was going to open up people to the broader conversation. Let's get into this
Mm-hmm.
video because I think it's going to speak to exactly what you're saying about being manipulated. So I'm gonna
Ashe,
play the
Ashe.
video. And then people will understand because for those who don't know, a lot of things transpired within the last couple weeks with
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Bishop and Carbonation. So this kind of led me and Venus talking
AKA
behind
Nature
closed doors.
Boy.
Yeah, Nature Boy. So this kind of led me and Venus talking, behind closed doors, like, hey, did you see this? And of course, we both seen it, and it was like, damn, that's it's a wild story.
Crazy.
Anybody that's been in the stratosphere of social media over the last couple of years, you probably seen the story developing. So it was just interesting. That kind of led us to go down this path to say, let's do a show about manipulation 101. But I'm gonna bring up the stage video, and this is from Elijah Bishop's ex-wife. Um, her side of the story. It was a brief news clip, and I'm gonna play it now. Give me 1 second so I can play
This
it.
is going to be dope for those of you who are not tuning in. We are
I
currently
feel that
on
now
our
looking
YT
back, I
channel.
feel that I
Okay,
fell in love with
you
an
and
idea
Iverse.
because he pretended to be someone that he wasn't.
Behind her smiling face, Velvet Marquez faced her hardest years next to Eligio Bishop.
He literally held me hostage. He took all of my identification, my passport, my birth certificate, my social, my bank cards, everything, you name it, medical documentations.
She says Bishop, the leader of the so-called cult Carbonation, went from spoiling her to abusing her when she got pregnant.
I was forced to engage in sexual activity that I did not want to do. I was still strangled on multiple occasions. So I had to willingly engage in these sexual activities because of to keep myself safe. He would abuse me in front of the women.
She had their daughter in 2019, and a year and a half later, she says he forced her to legally marry him in a Las Vegas chapel.
There was no medical attention given to us, so when I actually went into labor, I had to be rushed to the hospital 2 hours away.
For years, the cult would drive and settle across Central America. Velvet says Bishop lived off of other members' PPP loans and life savings. She gave him her $3,000 college fund, while others gave tens of thousands of dollars. And after 4 tries, she successfully ran away with their daughter with no money but hope.
My child is important. I don't understand how anybody could leave their child to be with him or to go live with him.
Now, Velvet tells me she has since received death threats from Eligio, and that he even showed up to her family's home in Louisiana just months after she ran away. Jennifer?
Paolo, do you know, did she ever try reaching out to law enforcement?
That's what I want to know.
And I just went on and
That news clip is so powerful. It
and
begs,
of course,
it begs so many questions.
since then he was it's a lot of that's an old clip, but it just it was kind of like on topic, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. But of course, since then he's been sentenced to life without parole, and and you know what's crazy? I think he had an opportunity. Yeah, I think he had an opportunity to actually plead guilty and receive 5 years, but someone like that who thinks they are God, you know what I mean? The big
someone
G.
like that really think they're informed, because I did also see a news clip where he kind of fired his attorney, rehired his attorney,
right.
Thinking that he can represent himself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's what happens when you get caught up. But it wasn't just him. And that's also an important factor. It wasn't just him. There are many individuals, right, operating within these same occultish tactics, right?
Exactly.
And so everything is being brought to the light. Everything is brought to the light. Y'all seeing all of these quote unquote pastors and preachers and prophets and quote unquote leaders being exposed in the limelight.
These moguls.
Everybody is being all of these moguls, right? People who you once trusted, people who you invested some of your hard-earned money in. They just said in that news clip that Nature Boy received thousands of dollars from his quote unquote alleged victims. We're going to be careful with the words that we use. His quote unquote alleged victims. Thousands upon thousands. Property was given. Retirement funds was given. All of these different things. School funds were given. And it's really sad. And some of your favorite content creators are doing the same thing to y'all.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like
they doing.
Yeah, it's things being rehashed. You know what I mean? It's crazy because again, we in the time where people have such an opportunity to do well, and for the most part, I think a lot of people get into such things meaning well, but this is why it's careful. You got to be careful with going back again about self-mastery, because once you are in control of self, you cannot be led astray. You know what I mean? So people egos get in the way, get inflated, and now you think you're bigger than who you are, and you start things things are taking on a life of his own. But like I said, he's not the only one. It's crazy because when you look through the history of these things, these cults, man, and how people, I think it's something that makes people interested in it. Not saying like in a sense of joining, but for me, I'm interested in it, looking at people saying, how could you not see? I think that's the reason why people are drawn to it in the sense of the story. It's like, how could you not see that this is where this is going? Like, you don't see that, you know what I mean? It's like,
That's what happens when you have them blinders on it. Self-mastery, the idea and the concept of, and the difference between one who knows self-mastery and is practicing self-mastery and is the master of themselves and their reality versus someone who doesn't understand what self-mastery is and who's constantly being mastered by other people, places, and things, is one have a blindfold on and navigating, right? And one
Right.
does not. One is completely aware, even if their reflectors are shut, right? Which most of y'all think y'all see through your eyes. You don't, you see through your eye, right? Even when their reflectors are closed, people who understand self-mastery, right? They don't only rely on their physical attributes and connections. They rely on their internal, intuitive, cosmic direction, right? And that's what self-mastery is about. So someone just can't come and easily bamboozle you. But when you don't have the necessary information, when you don't invest in the information, guess what? Whether you know it or not, you're going to keep running on that perpetual dysfunctional hamster wheel.
Man,
That hamster will be looking real glorious. It can be gold, silver, platinum. You can put flowers on it. You can put basketball, Nike shoe, whatever it is that we put on to make the dysfunction more pleasant and more palatable isn't going to change the fact that you're still going to be running in the same damn spot over and over and over and over
and we
again.
talked about that. We talked about,
right.
I'm just saying, we talked about that. We talked about the hypnotic rhythm and how people get caught on that perpetual hamster. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what happens. You know what I mean? It's exactly what we're talking about.
It really is.
What
and
you
let
about
me
to
tell
say?
you something. You know what? Listen, Bleak. And you know what's a highlight? What's not crazy about it? Some people say it's like, oh, that's crazy. You know what's not crazy about it? How many hamster wheels have you seen encaged from both sides? Typically, it's only one side that is caged, and the other side is completely open. Meaning
you're free.
You can jump off that shit whenever you want
to. You're free if you want to be.
Yeah, it's like
basically, but that's the thing. A lot of
moment you can pop yourself right off to that cycle.
And that's the thing. And that's a great point that you're saying, because a lot of the hamster wheels of life, they're voluntary. You know what I mean? You jump on it because you want to, and you have a choice. Right. And that's
there
the thing.
You go. Everything.
You know what I mean? Sometimes we volunteer ourselves for the craziness of our own worlds. We are voluntarily giving that up, but that's what it is. It's to be recognized, though. It's for people to sit back, and the conversation that we're having is for you to sit back and question, and so you can see, like, am I falling victim to this? Because trust me, the cult that we're in, not saying me and you, Venus, or I'm speaking in general. Everyone, the cult that we also, it's like, are we on someone else's program? It's really that simple. Are you running your own program or not?
My friend.
You know what I mean? So if you're not running your program, meaning, are you doing everything? Now I get it. Life happens. You got to do certain things to sustain yourself and all that. But are you really running your own program? Like, is the religion that you're in, is it because someone gave it to you?
There you go.
You know what I mean? Or did you find that yourself? And if you found it yourself, are you studying it yourself, or everything that's being given to you, is it being given to from someone? You see what I'm saying? Are you seeking your own answers? Because I don't knock anyone's religion. If that's what you want to do, you do that. But always seek the answers for yourself. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Listen, if you're not controlling your programs, who is? Right? And so let's get into some manipulators' traits. Manipulative traits, because we would be remiss and would not be doing justice to our endeavor and our goal to educate you, right? To help assist you on your journey to self-mastery, if we didn't give you some of the many, right? Because we can go on and on with manipulative, unjust. Let me put that clause, the unjust manipulative traits and tactics. One trait that manipulators, unjust master manipulators use is guilt tripping. Right? Unjust master manipulators will always guilt trip you. And this is when that person tries to make you feel responsible or guilty for your actions and your decisions, especially when your actions and your decisions are on the righteous side of things, are on the integrity side of things, on the just and the natural side of things. Master unjust manipulators will always use the guilt tactic. They will always guilt trip you. They will always make you second guess your intuitive insight. They will always make you second guess yourself. They will always make you second guess that gut feeling that says, nah, buddy, you tripping. You tripping. They like, nah, you tripping. Right?
But
the
again, that
reverse
guilt trip,
psychology.
yeah, and that guilt trip goes beyond, when we talking about cult, we're just really talking about you not running on your own programming. So that guilt tripping falls into the lane of like your relationships, right? Guilt tripping can fall to your, like, how your, sometimes your family can do the same thing, to guilt trip you, but we see it in different, I'm saying that to say we see that in different, avenues of our life, that it may be like you said, your boss at your job guilt tripping you because you want to take off from work, and now they're going to guilt trip you, or you have these projects coming up but you need time for yourself. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to piggyback off what you were saying to give people a broader understanding of, it doesn't have to be just,
amplify whenever you need to. Another manipulative trait of the unjust, unrighteous, evil manipulative tactics is lying. People with unrighteous, unjust manipulative tactics and tendencies will often lie to you to control, right? Or coerce you into things that isn't natural to you, isn't going to add to your elevation in no way, shape, or form, as well as avoiding blame or consequences. They will always avoid self-reflection. They will always avoid consequences of their own actions. These are your unaccountable people. These are the people who are irresponsible. These are the people who, when I tell you don't give a damn about themselves, they won't give a damn about you, and they'll make you think that they do. But all of these tactics that they're using, and the next thing you know, you caught up in a rapture of stupidity. Caught up in a rapture of stupidity. Caught up in these systems of a cult. Caught up under Nature Boy's antics.
Yep.
Okay? Next thing you know, you caught up like that young lady. How did I get here? How does this man now control certain things with me? How does this man have all of my paperwork, my documentation? How did I get here? How did I remove myself from those of my family members, whether I thought they cared or didn't care, from the environment in which I felt safe to a degree, right? How did I move from this to now a separate, divided, right? Being controlled by this man. How did I get to a whole nother island?
Here's how that normally happens. It's called isolation. This is another tactic that cult leaders will use. When you ask these questions, this is what it does. So isolation, right? Cult leaders isolate followers from external influences, controlling their access to information and limiting contact with outsiders to maintain their grip on the group. So when you ask those questions, why, that's exactly the reasons why we're asking, and it's rhetorical why we're asking it, but that's why. Isolation. So as we go forward with this stuff, this is the reason why we might ask questions and stuff like that. But when we talked about the young lady with Nature Boy, because she's not the only one, there's other people that find themselves in these situations. That's one of the main tactics they're going to use is isolation. So how many people have been in a relationship? You know what I mean? You've been in a relationship where you find yourself all of a sudden, for some of our young ladies, all of a sudden you're isolated from your family. He has you, and
Friends,
you're isolated, and
one.
you know, you ain't talking to your friends no more, stuff like that. And it's like, so it's stuff like that. These are cues for you to look out for, pretty much.
That's
When you
right.
find yourself in these situations, you'll start to understand, like, okay, this is what's happening. You know what I mean? And you gotta really, be truthful with yourself and have that understanding, and ask yourself, is this what's happening? And if you find yourself isolated, that's a key, that's a key point that you should really zone in on and say, this is what's going on, especially if they taking your ID. That's crazy.
Listen,
Taking your
that's
ID, your
talking
birth
about
certificate,
red
money.
flags. Listen, that flag was
Right.
painted in a Crayola color. You know that blinding kind of red. It's not the
Right.
cherry. It's not the cherry color red. It's that Crayola red. Where it's like it's so hard to miss. But this is what happens when you are ignorant. You see, we speak about self-mastery and the sciences and universal laws and principles and hermetic principles all the time. No one is excluded. The universe does not care whether you're ignorant or knowledgeable. The universe does not care whether your intentions are pure or impure. The universe simply understands language and frequency. That's it. You see how the law of cause and effect happens to all? The consequences apply to all. Look how detrimental our decisions to continually move and act upon things within in ignorance. It can be devastating. And let me tell you something. A lot of souls don't make it out. They don't make it out. Projection is another one of these, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, lovely. How are you? This is one of my TikTok family. Greetings, Bleak. What are your Hebrew Israelite camps? Some of the points made are applicable things experienced with them. Yes,
Hey.
we appreciate you sharing. This is very true.
Hey, I've heard stories. I definitely heard
Listen,
stories.
most of these man-made religions act and use the same principles within their systems.
Right.
Unjust, unright, master manipulators. That's at the core, and there's so many other heinous things, but we're not going to get into it. Another trait, and I'm sure you're familiar with this one, good people, beautiful souls, projection. Unrighteous, unjust master manipulators will always project. This happens when the person claims an emotion that they're feeling, right? It's not so much of the other person, it's what they're feeling, what they're perceiving, how they're associating with a particular thing. They're going to project that. What did I say in the beginning? What you perceive, you project, right? So most cases, it has nothing to do with the other person being right or wrong, just or unfair. It has everything to do with the manipulator is feeling, right? This is why when people make decisions, 80% of the time it's because of them, not so much of something that you attributed with or attributed to.
Mm-hmm.
Things such as jealousy. How many times we heard of conversations, or especially with men and women and these toxic relationships, say like, oh, you're just jealous, right? Or they check in your phone, or they want to be with you every step of the way, right? They're displaying jealous, so they'll call you jealous when really they're the ones that's jealous. They'll blame you for all of these things, knowing that they're doing it. Right? It's not you that's insecure, it's them that's insecure. And so master unrighteous manipulators will always project whatever they got going on internally, whether it's fear, whether it's scarcities, whether it's jealousy, whether it's toxicity, whether it's codependency, whatever it is, whether it's hate, whether it's anger, whether it's contempt, even if it's on the flip side of the spectrum, whether it's joy, you will always project what you internally reflect, always. And these are some of the things we got to look out for,
right?
Ashe?
And I guess yeah, absolutely. And the aspect of that would be like emotional exploitation, based on what you just said, based on exactly what you just said, because they'll play on your emotions, right?
Mhm.
You know, they tend to instill fear, guilt, hopes in hopes to gain control of, of their people. So by saying stuff like you saying, like, um by saying you're jealous, trying to
Mhm.
project those feelings, to that is another way to manipulate with emotions. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to throw
Yes.
that in there too. You know?
That's absolutely true. And they're gonna continually move the goalposts. They can't keep their feet 10
Right.
toes down if they try. It's always okay. You move it. You move an inch, or you give me an inch, and I'm gonna take a mile. Okay, they can never stand 10 toes down in whatever it is they need to face. Right, no matter how much you show up for someone. Right, these unjust manipulators, they will change their expectations at the last minute to keep you constantly running towards feeding whatever they got going on. They can never keep it there. Like, they include your mamas, your daddies, they include the friends. Like, yeah, talk to my boy, talk to my family member. Oh, you can ask this person, you can ask that person. Or if it's something that you are having a conversation, like asking them about, or tell them like, hey, something that you did, when you yelled at me, right? When you were screaming at me, right? When you were being violent towards me, right? That made me uncomfortable. When master manipulators move the goalpost, it looks like this. Well, you yelled at me 2 weeks ago. You remember when you left the house? Like, wait a minute. Wait a
Right.
minute. I'm talking about you right now. That's moving
Right.
the goalpost, and that happens all the time. And then you get caught up running behind them. Now you gotta worry about what happened 2 weeks ago. When we're in the now, we're talking about what happened now. This is why it's healthy for you to address whatever it is. I mean, there's a time and a place and a space for everything, right? Read the energy.
Right.
But you
Right.
should never allow things that you feel inside, emotions and feelings, right? And these cognitive dissonance thoughts linger, because what you repress, you also feed, and it's doing nothing but growing. When you think you done dissolved it, when you think it's like out of the way, that's not how it happens. This happened to me. Oh, let me tell you
Yeah.
something. Just a short story. There was a time I was dating a guy, right? And when I tell you, I didn't understand at the time how unjustly, like, wicked, evil. He was an evil manipulator. When I tell you,
Hmm.
this man set up a whole scene to unalive me, a whole scene. Claimed he booked a flight because we would vacation. Claimed he booked a flight, red eye. So I went over there at nighttime, make condensing this story. I had on a skirt, well, like one of those quarter length skirts past the knees. So it kind of prohibited my mobility. When I tell you, this man got me on the bed, pushed me down, and tried to, right? I'm fighting physically. When I realized that I don't have the physical brute to fight this man. But while I was doing it, my hands is moving and I'm looking for things. My hand moved the pillow, and there was duct tape. There was the extension cord under there. A lot of things. And I'm like, wait, you planned this out. And I thank my ancestors. I thank the infinite source of creation, which I called God then, right? Because back then I was thanking God that I had the ability, right, to psychologically manipulate this man out of unaliving me. Because while he's in the process of literally trying to take me out, this man is asking me questions. So, who was you talking to January 1st at 8 o'clock in the morning? In my mind, I'm like, what the you and what? First of all,
Right.
you
Right.
trying to take me out, and you want me to remember what the hell happened a year ago? I psychologically manipulated that man, calmed him down. And when my moment came to escape, I was gone. When I express to you the importance of you mastering self, the importance of you understanding both aspects of righteous manipulation and unrighteous manipulation, and you learning how to manipulate energy, because people are energy, it can literally save you in so many different ways, right? Just to put some
Hell yeah.
context to how serious it is. You cannot keep making foolish, unwise decisions with your life because there are master unrighteous manipulators all around you. And guess what? They sniffing you out like a hound dog. They're looking for you. And when you're weak-willed and weak-minded, guess what? You reek of pheromones and they can smell you miles away. That makes you an easy target because everything is energy, right? Ashe? Mwah.
Oh yeah. Now that was a hell of a story, and it leads credence to exactly about what we're talking about. And this is exactly why we want to bring, these stories, this type of information to you, because quite literally, as you can see, it could be a matter of life and death, right?
Yes.
But self-mastery, you will be able to see through a lot of these things. First of all, let me ask you this. Knowing what you know now, would you even deal with a guy like that, knowing what you know now?
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
It don't even take the red flag to raise.
Exactly.
The way my bank account set up, the way my energetic frequency is set up, baby, I don't play no games with it. Before y'all
Right.
remember on the Mario Brothers when you jumped on that damn thing, baby, the
That
flag
flag.
didn't even get a quarter or half away, baby. 2 seconds. It took 2 seconds
Right.
to take me to identify. It's like,
But that's
return to sender.
But that's exactly what it is. I think a lot of people that's listening will agree. It's like once you reach a certain maturity or a certain level of understanding, wisdom, the red flag is there. It doesn't even have to be raised. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to say anything. It's the way they even approach you or the vibe you get from them. You don't, like I said, you don't play about it. You don't play about it once you get to a certain point in life. You understand? And that's what it is. That's what we're trying to help, get people to have that type of wisdom and understanding so that
that's right.
You don't have to wait to a situation like that for a red flag to go off. You will see it coming a mile away. And plus, when you do raise your frequency to that point, you are protected anyway. When we talk about your auric field, when we talk about that, it will. People don't understand that your auric field extends about 6 feet away from you, so it will propel people away. Like it becomes almost like your hedge of protection. When people walk and they say, sometimes I walk about life, and because that's how I move about life. I feel like I'm very protected at this point. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say things won't happen, struggles won't come, but ultimately, I overcome those things. And most people that walk in that light will overcome. We have an understanding that struggle happens and life is still gonna, life on life, right? But you could walk through life with a sense of confidence and understanding because you protect.
And it's so important because when I was in my adolescent, my ignorant stages, my ignorant, pure ignorance, right? When we noticed some of those tendencies, there was a time where like I was that girl. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so cute. He acting possessive. Oh my goodness, he jealous. Ooh. Next thing you know, this man is trying to take me out. I didn't take things seriously. This is what I mean by we are not excluded from universal principles. Something that I thought was cute later became dangerous. Why? Because I was ignorant. It wasn't cute. It was toxic. It wasn't healthy. It was unhealthy. That wasn't a cute behavior that he was displaying, being jealous and envious of me and being so codependent and needy, right? That it was dangerous. And so, yes, them life lessons, if you pay attention, it will definitely evolve you in many ways. And
that speaks to another thing that these people do. Fear tactics, right? They use fear tactics such as threats or divine punishment or apocalyptic doom to manipulate followers into compliance and submission. So a lot of times this is what happens too, is that using fear tactics, that some impending danger will happen, or if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you know, this could happen. So that's
Yes.
that tends to be one of the tactics that they use also.
It is very true. Love bombing. Love bombing. That's one of the big ones we be talking about,
Yeah,
right?
speak on it.
It's not just
Speak on it.
it's not just love bombing, baby, because that's what that dude did to me, in the beginning. That kind of got me all caught up. And this my man, my man, my man. He's showing me so much love. He's buying me gifts, all while he's displaying these toxic behaviors, right? A master, unrighteous, unjust manipulator will love bomb you until you explode, baby. You wouldn't be able to tell your left foot from your right foot, right? You wouldn't be able to tell whether you going or coming. This how powerful they come across, right? This love bombing is a manipulator's tactic and dream, baby. They express themselves through giving you their undivided attention. The key is it's never going to last. They shower you, right? And sometimes inappropriately, right? They shower you with gifts. They shower you with compliments. They shower you with affection. They shower you with their time and their energy. And all while you like, oh my goodness, this is so wonderful. And this can happen with man or woman,
Mm-hmm.
right? This can happen to a man or woman. They'll overwhelm you. It's like that excessive, that overkill. Like they just, oh my goodness, you're so sexy. Oh, you're so handsome. I just love you. And I just thought about you. And here's a gift. And then it's cutting off your caution. It's cutting off your senses. It's dulling and nulling, right? Your spidey senses, right? And what they're
It's
doing,
making them red flags turn a little orange, right?
yes. And what they're doing is testing you. They're testing your vulnerabilities. They're testing your insecurities. They're testing your codependencies. They're testing your confidence and your self-esteem. They are testing you. And they do that through one of the tactics that we're mentioning. And the one we're talking about now is love bombing. Baby, they ain't loving on you. They testing and trying you. And many of us fall victim to it because why? We want to be accepted so bad. We don't have self-full love within ourselves. Our self-esteem is below 8 feet deep. Our confidence is below 8 feet deep. And so guess what? When you know directly or indirectly, when you don't understand your subconscious energetic core field, right? And most of the times it's that of lack. You lack security, you lack comfort, you lack stability, you lack self-full love, you lack self-esteem, your ego is out of control when it should be in control. You lack all of these things, and guess what? You reek of the pheromone, and it says, hey, come get me.
Right.
I need
And
love,
you know what that love,
'cause I don't
you know what
feel
that
love.
love bombing does?
Yes.
That love bombing turns into dependency. So when someone
yes.
love bomb you so much with the gifts and the lavishness and just doing for you, you tend to start to become dependent on that person
That's right.
to pick up. You know what I mean? So understand that. So it's the love bombing, it's the dependency, it's the isolation, it's the emotional exploitation, it's the manipulation. So when you start to get a grasp on everything that we're saying, it starts to become, I know those that's listening, I know you agree, if you went through this, it becomes red flag after red flag after red flag. Because everything we're saying, like it doesn't matter if you're in a, see, when we say cult, we don't want you to get so hung up on that you belong to this group. This could be a relationship, this could be your family, this could be your church, this could be your job, this could be anything that falls within that. But the key is not to be manipulated by none of these tactics. That's the key. So another thing that people tend to with everything we're being said, then it becomes the cognitive dissonance, right? So these people, they exploit cognitive dissonance by creating conflicting beliefs or situations. Venus, you just hit on that a little bit earlier about how now we're arguing about something that happened 2 months ago versus what's
Yeah,
going
you
on now.
start second guessing yourself.
Right, you start,
Mm-hmm.
right. So they manipulate everything you're saying, everything
Mm-hmm.
you're doing. You know what I mean? And it calls you to question. That's like gaslighting. Also,
Yeah,
you
it
know, it
is.
calls
It
you
is.
to question, you know, reality in a sense. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So everything that
Absolutely.
we're talking about is pretty much just something that you should just pay attention to. Like, are these things happening?
Yes. You know what I'm reminded of as you said that, like when I think of cognitive dissonance, I'm sure many of us have heard the term or heard a story or heard the analogy, right? Or the concept of the angel and the devil on your shoulders, right? You got the angel talking over here, you got the devil talking over here, and next
Mm-hmm.
thing you know, you just like you got whiplash now because you like, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? I thought I was right.
Right.
Maybe you wrong. And that's not healthy. That's what cognitive dissonance is. You have your angel side, which is your higher self, and you have your lower side, which is your devil side, which is your lower self, and there's no harmony because there's a constant ping pong, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You right, you wrong, you up, you're down, you left, you're right, you're in, you're out, and it's like, god damn, that causes dysfunction, that causes energetic irregulation, that throws your circadian rhythm out of bounds. And so cognitive dissonance, whatever, whether it's righteous or unrighteous, whatever you have grown to accept and to believe and to know and hold true, cognitive dissonance is what's going to challenge all of those things. Right. And sometimes that can be incredibly unhealthy because you're not standing 10 toes down. You're constantly flipping sides. You're constantly flipping sides. It's like, is you is or is you ain't? Is you in or is you out? Like, I'm gonna need you to
Right.
pick one. Okay.
Right.
Pick one. Okay. So yes, that
Absolutely.
cognitive dissonance is, baby, listen, it's something else. Y'all have to understand. And remember, we're talking about manipulation, but also understand when we're talking about manipulation, you must understand polarity and duality. You must understand the
Oh yeah.
opposite spectrum of that. Manipulation does not only relate to master unrighteous manipulators controlling you. Manipulation also refers to energetic manipulation. And remember, your goal in life, experiencing all that you're experiencing, is to understand and to learn how to manipulate energy, right? And so it does you a disservice when you're only thinking left or right brain, when you're only thinking and pulling from one resource. It does, you have no expansion, you have no advantage, right? And so you're always going to remain lopsided, right? You gonna lean heavy to the right or heavy to the left, right? You either heads or tails. Harmonizing. So manipulation isn't always unrighteous, but you need to
Right.
understand the totality of what manipulation is.
That's why we're gonna have to really get this season. We're gonna have to really get into the Hermetic principles. And I know that you have the book club and the Kabbalion,
Yes.
I think is up first.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
those that's listening, make sure you check out Venus, all things self-mastery. That's the book club as
Book
well, right?
club. Yeah, all things self-mastery
Yeah,
book club.
because I don't want our listeners being confused about some of the things that we're saying. And this is why we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to lay the foundation. And a good
Right.
way of doing that, because we talk about left brain, right brain, and she's talking about the
Mm-hmm.
duality and the polarity of things. And you might hear these things as a constant thread through these conversations throughout this season and ongoing through
Good point.
You and I Verse podcast. We want you guys to be able to, be locked in step with us and have an understanding. So, but what Venus is doing over there at the book club, she's going to go over the Kabbalion and the Hermetic principles, which is a book by the initiates, the three initiates, and Hermes Trismegistus, or some people may call him Thoth. I got that book too. I told you that, right? I told you I got it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I
This
got.
is
I'm
the
looking
book
for
we're
it.
going to be covering. And
Tell them
actually
more about it
tonight,
real quick.
okay, sure. Tonight, this evening is the registration is closing. This evening, well, not this evening. We passed that 12 p.m. The book club registration is closing. I've been speaking about this for months. All Things Self Mastery. I just instituted All Things Self Mastery book club, and the very first book we're going to be covering is the Kabbalion. the three initiates. We're talking about Hermetic principles. If you don't understand what Hermetic principles is simply talking about universal laws and principles that's undeniable, indisputable facts that affects each and every one of us on a day-to-day basis. And so if you are one who want to expand, if you are one who is tired of running on that hamster wheel, you have to understand that you cannot evolve, expand, or grow without information. And so we're just not going to be reading and listening to the book. I'm going to be breaking down in depth and detail what these Hermetic principles is and what the universal laws, because you hear it in Bleaks and I conversation. Okay, listen, when I tell you we on it, we on it. No lies told over here. I mean, we give our POIs, our perspectives, opinions, and ideologies. However, we also incorporate indisputable, factual, backed up scientific information. And you need to know that for yourself. And let me tell you, the one and most important thing I would say is that we are not like the others. There's too many of y'all following and paying attention and giving your precious energy, time, money, all of these different things to people who are teaching you under the guise of wanting to help you, but they're really serving their own needs. And so you still have time to register for the book club. It is a monthly investment of $13.99. It's not $100. It's not $200. It's not
That's a
$1,000. It's
lunch,
not
y'all. Come
even
on, y'all.
$50. $13.99. Right?
That's a salad at Wendy's, man.
Okay. Invest in that, in something that can truly change your entire world, not just your life, and the lives of your loved ones for all eternity. Okay, so I invite y'all. It's up to y'all. If y'all want to know how to get registered, you can. Actually, we have the link that is in our bio, and You and I Verse podcast. It will lead you to my tree. And there you can register there. For my TikTok family, all you got to do is click my picture, connect to my link, and you'll see a tab that says All Things Self Mastery Book Club. Ashe?
Yep. Hey,
so important.
This been another great episode. We want to thank everyone for joining us. Make sure that you guys follow us on You and I Verse podcast, Facebook group, You and I Verse podcast on YouTube, and of course Apple and Spotify. So we will see you guys on the next episode of the You and I Verse podcast, and we are out.
Infinite love, light, and enlightenment.